Hello everyone and welcome to my Paul Thomas Anderson tier list video. This is my second tier list video. My first one was a few weeks ago for Chris Nolan, and I did that after seeing The Odyssey, so there's a link to that in the description if you're interested. I have a new mic now, so apologize for the sound quality of the previous video and also for leaving the window open. This time you don't have to worry about the guest commentary from the cicadas. So, for the Nolan tier list, I had missed 4 of his movies, but for the Anderson tier list, I had only missed 1, and that was Licorice Pizza. After I watched Licorice Pizza, I kind of felt like there were a few of the movies that I didn't remember as well as the others. So I also rewatched Inherent Vice and Phantom Thread and The Master. And the reason that I'm more familiar with his first 5 movies, even though they've been out longer, is this right here. This is my honors thesis that I wrote at the University of Southern Mississippi. It is titled Awesome Mixtapes, Observations and Analyses of Music in the Films of Paul Thomas Anderson. And I wrote it just after There Will Be Blood came out. So I watched all 5 of his first movies repeatedly in order to write that, so I'm more familiar with those. Alright, so having said all that, let's get started. His first movie was in 1996, and it was called Hard Eight. Starring Philip Baker Hall, John C. Reilly, Gwyneth Paltrow, Samuel L. Jackson, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's about an experienced gambler who decides to help a young drifter learn the ins and outs of the casino lifestyle until secrets from the past threaten their newfound partnership. Hard Eight is B-tier Anderson. It was sleek, it was smoky, it was well acted. It was very good for first film, just not great like some of his later works. It was expanded from a short film Anderson made for about $20,000 called Cigarettes and Coffee, which starred Philip Baker Hall as a man named Sidney. And after the reception the short received, he was invited to the 1994 Sundance Institute, which helped him develop feature film Hard Eight based on the character Sidney. Anderson wanted to call it Sidney. He wanted the movie to be called Sidney, but it ended up being called Hard Eight because I guess that was a little catchier. John Bryan was featured as a composer for the film, and so was Michael Penn, who is Sean Penn's brother, and who is married to Amy Mann, who we'll talk about shortly when we get to Magnolia. Next up is Boogie Nights, released in 1997. Starring Mark Wahlberg, Burt Reynolds, John C. Reilly, Julianne Moore, Don Cheadle, Heather Graham, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Alfred Molina, and others. It follows the rise and fall of a gifted young man in the adult film industry in the 1970s. Boogie Nights is A-tier Anderson. It's got a big, as you can tell from the names I just read, a big Altman-esque ensemble cast filled with great performances. It was especially impressive for his second film at only 26 years old. He proved he's not afraid to work with a large, robust cast. This one was expanded from a short film he made in 1988 at 18 years old, a mockumentary short film called The Dirk Diggler Story, which Dirk Diggler is the main character of Boogie Nights, played by Mark Wahlberg. Michael Penn was brought on as composer again, with contributions from John Bryan, but most of the music in the film was pop music of the time, and it was used a lot more prominently there. It was used to strengthen setting, comment on the scenes, effective use of music. It had a really cool, uninterrupted opening shot that started outside of a nightclub and moved into it and moved around it, where you meet pretty much the whole cast, nearly the whole cast. Very impressive way to start a movie. Main thing against it, the second half kind of drags a little bit, and it's got some scenes that are a little silly, and they don't quite land, or didn't quite land for me. But overall, it's still easily A-tier. Next up is Magnolia, 1999. Starring Tom Cruise, Julianne Moore, Philip Baker Hall, John C. Reilly, William H. Macy, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Jason Robards, and more. About the lives of 9 people in the San Fernando Valley intertwining over the course of a single extraordinary day. Magnolia is S tier. For many years, when I was asked what my favorite movie was, this is what I said. It inspired my only screenplay, which is another multi-plot film. It's got 6 as opposed to 9 main characters with interrelated stories that play out over the course of a week instead of a day. So clearly directly inspired from Magnolia. I've seen this movie probably 10 times, including a few years ago at an Alamo Drafthouse in Austin, which was a cool experience. I love this movie. It is still Anderson's longest movie. It's 188 minutes. It's epic. It has several crazy, memorable scenes. Most people reference the frogs at the end, but there are other scenes, including the intro to the film and a kind of experimental song scene, which I don't want to spoil anything, but it involves Amy Mann's music being basically turned into a music video right in the middle of a story. John Bryan played a larger role in this film compared to the first two. He had more and longer cues. But like I said, Amy Mann's music really had a memorable place in the film. Some people don't care for the melodrama in Magnolia. They say it's a little over the top, but for me personally, that did not distract from the film. It made it even more memorable. Okay, next up, Punch Drunk Love, 2002, starring Adam Sandler, Emily Watson, and Philip Seymour Hoffman, about an idiosyncratic businessman that balances unexpected new love with a group of extortionists sent after him by a phone sex line. Punch Drunk Love is B tier Anderson. It was a bit of a peculiar follow-up to the bombastic Magnolia and Boogie Nights, and it wasn't a bad film. It was just different from what he had made, and honestly different from most of what he's made still. But that lines up with what Anderson said about the film. He said he said it as a challenge for himself after Magnolia, which, as I said, was 188 minutes. He wanted to have a film that was closer to 90 minutes. He's also said to have written the script with Adam Sandler in mind for the main role. If you remember, at the time, Adam Sandler was not known as a dramatic actor. He had mostly kind of goofy comedic roles, so this helped pave the way for more dramatic turns for Sandler. John Bryan was featured again, and he had a kind of a quirky percussive score. He used a harmonium, which is noteworthy, kind of a fun instrument. Doesn't get seen very often, heard very often. But yeah, it was just kind of an odd story with odd characters and a bizarre romance. Okay, There Will Be Blood, 2007, starring Daniel Day-Lewis, Paul Dano, and Kieran Hines, about a ruthless and ambitious oil prospector who rises to wealth and power during the Southern California oil boom of the early 1900s. So, holy wow, Daniel Day-Lewis in this movie. It's well documented. This is one of his best performances. It's one of the best performances. It's incredible. It had Johnny Greenwood as the composer. So, moved away from John Bryan. Did I even say what tier this is in? Apologies. This is S tier Anderson. Johnny Greenwood, a member of Radiohead, a band you may have heard of, had a beautiful Bernard Herrmann style string orchestra score for this movie, and it does so much for the film. It adds so much to it. Also, some of his previously recorded music is used in there, similar sounding, as is some instrumental music from other composers, like older classical composers. So the music is beautiful. And he's done the music for every film since There Will Be Blood. It's got great Oscar-winning cinematography from DP Robert Elswit, who worked on all of Anderson's first 5 movies. It's based very loosely on a novel called Oil by Upton Sinclair. It's got lots of technology versus religion kind of themes throughout it, and the story's ample for analysis and discussion and thought. It is his most profitable film, and his most critically acclaimed as well, probably. Now it's arguable, now that One Battle After Another has been released. But it is on many a best of the 21st century list, as well as some best of all time lists. So not a surprise for many to see that on S tier, I'm sure. The Master, 2012, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Amy Adams, about an explosive, unpredictable young World War II vet that becomes entangled with the charismatic leader of a controversial spiritual movement. This is S tier Anderson. I originally had this at A tier, but after watching it again recently, I moved it up to S. I was blown away by this movie. It's definitely one of his best movies. It's got over-the-top performances, especially from Joaquin Phoenix, bizarre performances at times. But kind of how I felt about Magnolia, that was not a hindrance for me. I enjoy big swings from actors, and there are big swings for sure in this movie. It's got beautiful shots and sets. It was shot in 65 millimeter to catch all the lovely details. Another Johnny Greenwood score, another very good Johnny Greenwood score. It's in a lot of the film. He wrote a lot of music for this film, and it matches very well with the cerebral yet dramatic nature of the story in the film. It's not explicitly a story about L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology, but there are many parallels. It's kind of widely understood to be about that. I do remember not liking the ending back when I saw it in 2012, but I think I didn't really understand the ending. This time I found the ending to be very effective and really quite sad. Found myself thinking about it a lot after it was done. Inherent Vice, 2014, starring Joaquin Phoenix yet again. Whoops, spoilers. Josh Brolin, Benicio del Toro, Owen Wilson, Reese Witherspoon, Catherine Waterston, and more. About a stoner PI who stumbles through a sprawling conspiracy while searching for his missing ex-girlfriend. Inherent Vice is A tier Anderson. It was adapted from a Thomas Pynchon novel of the same name, released 5 years prior. This author is known for dense, complex works, and that is exactly how I felt about Inherent Vice. I found the story very hard to follow, especially when you factor in the absurdism included in the film. You don't know what's real, what's not, what's supposed to be interpreted as real or what's not. So that just adds to the complicated narrative with many characters and interested parties. It felt like every new scene had a new turn in the story, and by the end it became a little exhausting. Even after reading a plot summary afterwards, I found it difficult to summarize the story and what it was about. But that didn't mean that it wasn't good. It was very good. It was, as I said, it was kind of absurd throughout, kind of surreal, which is on theme with the main character named Doc being high all the time. So it's fitting. And it's filled with ridiculous, hilarious, but impressive performances, namely Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin was hilarious. I found the movie to be funny. I thought that it was his funniest movie. It was darkly comic. So even though I didn't fully understand everything at the end, that didn't keep it from being entertaining and a rewarding experience. I even watched it twice. Okay, Phantom Thread, 2017, starring Daniel Day-Lewis, Leslie Manville, and Vicky Krieps, about a successful fashion designer's carefully controlled life, which is upended after he meets a strong-willed young woman. Phantom Thread is A tier Anderson. It was elegant. It was sensual, which is unlike much of the rest of his work. He seems to be kind of challenging himself here, he being Anderson, challenging himself to try new things. It's the only film not set in the United States, and it's one of 3 not set in California. It takes place in London. And I think it's in the 50s, I believe. But yeah, it's got more beautiful music. It's got some Johnny Greenwood music and then some from classical composers, just like There Will Be Blood. And yeah, the movie is anchored on the main 3 performances between Daniel Day-Lewis and the 2 females. They all deliver, but especially, of course, Daniel Day-Lewis is phenomenal. There's no DP on this movie, making Anderson the de facto DP. And it was a beautiful film to look at. Of course, he had a lot of help from the costumes, which was the one Oscar that it won out of the 6 that it was nominated for. And you know, if you're going to have a movie about a fashion designer, you got to have good costumes, and they certainly did. So another great film, great performances, just great. 2021, Licorice Pizza, starring Alana Haim, Cooper Hoffman, Sean Penn, Tom Waits, Bradley Cooper, and Benny Safdie. About an enterprising teenage actor who relentlessly pursues a 25-year-old young woman as they have a series of adventures in 1970s Southern California. Licorice Pizza is B. Tier Anderson. It is a coming-of-age story, but many story elements and relationships were absurd, as we've come to accept from time to time from Anderson, and thus for me it kind of lacked the emotional core common to the genre. But it was funny, it was enjoyable, it looked and it felt like California in the 70s. It had very good attention to detail, felt a lot like Boogie Nights in some ways. It had good performances, but some of the best performances were only in one or two scenes, and the two leads, Hoffman and Haim, were, comparatively inexperienced. This was the first movie for both of them. So yeah, it was a charming movie, just not one of his best in my opinion. And then finally, One Battle After Another from 2025. Starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Chase Infinity, and Teyana Taylor. About a past his prime ex-revolutionary who's forced to revisit his history in a frantic race to rescue his daughter from a dangerous enemy tied to their past. This is another S-tier film. It was a knockout. It was one of his best films, one of his most entertaining films, one of his most accessible films. Had another terrific ensemble cast, as we've come to expect. Even the minor performances are spot on, memorable. It had 13 Oscar nominations, and it won 6 of them. Finally, Anderson got his due. He won for Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Adapted Screenplay, all in one night. And then Sean Penn won for Best Supporting Actor, and it also won for Editing and the newly created Casting Award. It was filmed mostly in VistaVision, which has become kind of in vogue recently due to this film and also The Brutalist, which was filmed primarily in VistaVision. But it required some kind of creatively upgraded machinery in order to get certain shots in the film, which kind of similar in many ways to how Chris Nolan did with IMAX cameras in order to film The Odyssey. Some similar tricks they employed. It was estimated to have a big budget, 130 to 175 million, his most expensive movie so far. Plus, it had a big marketing budget as well. But even with all of its success, including a global box office haul of 213 million, it still lost several $1 million overall, which is a bummer, because when movies are that good, you want them to make money so that they keep getting made. But it won a ton of Oscars. It was a resounding success. Johnny Greenwood did the score one more time, but fun little thing is that there was some John Bryan music in there as well. So I think this is the first time that both of those composers were in the same film. I don't think John Bryan wrote the music new for the film. I think it was archived music, but still, it's cool to see both of them in the same movie. So there you have it. I thoroughly enjoyed revisiting my PTA obsession to make this video. Had a lot of fun. You'll have to forgive me. I want to end on a personal note. I wanted to mention that in 2013, I sent Ghoulardi Film Company my honors thesis and my screenplay, which was titled Guilt. Terrible title, I know, but that's what it was called. I sent it. I wanted Paul Thomas Anderson to see it. I did not want a job. I did not want an in or anything like that. I just wanted him to see it because he inspired me and I was a fan and I wanted him to see what he inspired me to create. I never did hear anything from him about it or from anyone about it. I don't even know if it was received. In retrospect, both documents were full of flaws, but even so, I still get butterflies anytime I receive a call from an unknown California number. So, last thing I want to mention is that I'm hoping to make an Iñárritu tier list video when Digger comes out on October 2nd. So, please keep an eye out for that. Come back, watch it if you enjoyed this one. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Go watch a movie.